You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about something that I really agree with, and that is President Donald J. Trump coming out and saying that the Washington Commanders should have never changed their name from the Washington Redskins. I think there's a hell of a lot of fans out there that feel this way. They had one of the greatest logos ever. We made a lot of videos on this over the last 5 years because there's so many fans that still want it to be the Redskins. My best friend is a massive Redskins fan. When they changed the name, he never watched another NFL game afterwards. That sucks. You know, it absolutely sucks, but that was his team, and he was a staunch supporter, and he said, I don't know what a Commanders is. That's not my team. I don't know what a Washington football team is. My team is the Washington Redskins. There's a lot of lore, history, Joe Gibbs, Doug Williams, Joe Theismann, John Riggins, the Hogs, Art Monk, Darryl Green, Mark Ripien, Super Bowls. And now, wouldn't it be awesome if Jayden Daniels was coming out of the tunnel, really my favorite young quarterback, coming out of a tunnel wearing the Redskins logo. And we all know the meaning. It's something I've done a lot of videos on. It was 90% of Native Americans have no issue with it being the Redskins. In fact, they look at it as an insult that they got rid of the name. Plain and simple. There was actual Native American history tied to the Redskins name and logo. And I'm sure Mike Florio probably, he might have busted a blood vessel having to type out this article. But here we are, right here. In late April, President Trump addressed the question of whether the Washington Commanders, Redskins, should revert to the name they dropped 5 years ago, given that the word was and still is a dictionary-defined slur. Well, hold on a minute, because it wasn't at one time, and it's one of the social justice changes the damn dictionary made. All right, Florio, so let's not get out of hand. That was changed so you could cradle your sensibilities. White liberals, and Florio, you're one of them. Although he expressed at the time that the former name is, quote, superior to the current one, Trump acknowledged the former Washington name was, quote, a little different from other names that had been dumped like the Cleveland Indians did. And here we go right here. Let me just come over to the original article. Quote, you want me to make a controversial statement? I would, Trump said to the reporter. I wouldn't have changed the name, he continued. It just doesn't have the same ring to me. But you know, winning can make everything sound good. So if we win, if they win, all of a sudden the Commanders sound good. But I wouldn't have changed the name. Now, I made a point that I tagged the Native American Guardians Association, which is a group that's followed the channel. They know we've made a lot of videos over the years. I made a lot of videos about them because they have been banging the drum for the Redskins to become the Redskins again. That's all Native Americans in that organization. And Josh Harris won't listen. I can't think of anything more triumphant than getting a new stadium and changing the name back to the Redskins. And it's been my belief that if they went back to the Redskins, you would have a lot of people like me. Look, I'm a Niners fan. You guys know I tend to pull for the Patriots. But I would buy some Redskins merch if they brought the name back. It's something a lot of people believe is the right thing to do. So there was a lot of reaction to this article that came out Nobody is offended by the name except for dumb white liberals like yourself. A couple of people was slammed at Mike Florio because his head would blow off. You remember the guy who had his head blow off or blow up in Big Trouble in Little China, the movie with Kurt Russell? That would be Mike Florio's head if they actually become the Redskins again. And I believe there's a real chance it eventually will happen. The article says it's a defined slur in the dictionary. Well, that was only the last 10 years with a lot of these dictionaries changed it. The original meaning of it has nothing to do with that. So this guy just called out the dictionary and this article because, yeah, that's something that was actually changed. It didn't used to be considered a slur in the dictionary. Long live the Redskins. The Washington Redskins have tradition, major tradition. Major. They had an elite uniform. Affluent white liberals ruined it. Like they ruin everything else. Real fans still call the team the Redskins. It's a common thing. We all do it in the conversations. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's every football fan I know personally still calls them the Washington Redskins. That name change didn't, if anything, they're like, no, I'm not calling them by that name. You can forget it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Of course, there are a few liberals out there melting down. Oh, Trump's a racist and blah, 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 blah. Had one of the most culturally diverse voting groups ever turn out in November for him. And we're still pushing that lie out there. Anyway, not to get too political, but unfortunately, this is one issue that is political. And it's one we've been covering for a long time. You know, we've seen a couple of coaches. I think it was Ron Rivera may have wore some Redskins. There's been some different things over the years, recent years, that have led you to believe there's still a Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, you know, that logo. Coaches wearing shirts that are not actual official NFL shirts, but are sold on the aftermarket that still represent the Redskins brand. That tells you all you need to know. I mean, that's how the fans, the majority of fans, look at this team. The Washington football team doesn't have any history. The Washington Commanders don't have any history. The only history they got was last year. They made it to the NFC Championship game. It's the Washington Redskins that has tradition, that has that I'm in Texas. Again, my best friend, Redskins fan. I'm in Texas. He's a lifelong Texan. They're a national brand. And let's be honest, Cowboys Commanders games just don't have the same ring to it, do they? But by God, you knew, oh, if the Cowboys are playing the Redskins, it was must-see TV. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.